I can get it out over the bay.
Set it to fly out over the water then eject?
No autopilot.
This is the end sequence of Christopher Nolan's epic trilogy, The Dark Knight Rises. After defeating all other enemies, Batman is left with a nuclear bomb which will destroy Gotham if he doesn't deal with it. Batman's only option is to fly the nuke out over the water. He'll save Gotham, but he'll die in the process. Now, I appreciate that you could look at this as a fairly standard end to a superhero movie. We've all seen the films where the hero has to sacrifice themselves to save the world. But if you scratch below the surface, I think there's some interesting theology going on here which I want us to explore. There are three elements needed to make up this climactic end to the film. First, you need to have an identifiable problem, in this case a nuclear bomb. Second, you need two locations, a place for the community, Gotham City, and a place far away from the community, which is often represented as a wilderness, but in this film is the sea. And thirdly, you need a vessel, Batman, who will take the problem away from the people, Gotham, and into the wilderness. Now, it's interesting to me that exactly the same dynamic happens in a more cryptic way at the end of Nolan's second film, The Dark Knight. The dynamic is the same: problem, locations, and vessel, although the nature of the problem is different and therefore so is the resolution. The problem is that Harvey Dent has been corrupted by the forces of chaos personified by the Joker.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
That corruption, which we know from previous films is at the heart of Gotham City, needs to be removed. Harvey Dent's demise is symbolic. Corruption can creep in and destroy even the purest citizen. So the problem, although not as explosive as a nuclear bomb, is just as deadly. So how does Batman get that corruption out of Gotham City? How does he remove the problem from the community and take it into the wilderness? He's made a social outcast. Batman lets Commissioner Gordon blame him for the crimes that Two-Face committed and is chased out of the city, carrying Harvey Dent's shame. In theology, the dynamic I'm describing is called the scapegoat mechanism. Today, the word scapegoat is normally used as a metaphor to mean a person we blame for our wrongdoings, mistakes, or faults. However, the original scapegoat was an actual goat. The scapegoat mechanism is outlined in Leviticus chapter 16. Ancient Israelites recognized that the problem they faced was their own sin. That sin had to be removed, transferred from one location to another, taken out from the center of their community and left in the wilderness. And the vessel they used to do this was a goat. Alistair McGrath says in his introduction to theology, this scapegoat is an innocent third party who becomes the focus of the community's violence and the means of its transformation. And according to René Girard, the contemporary French philosophical anthropologist, Jesus fulfills the scapegoat mechanism. You can see the parallels, right? Jesus is the innocent victim, experiencing the violence of humanity, and is driven out into the wilderness. In the light of this, the location of Jesus' death takes on new significance. The New Testament records the crucifixion as taking place in Golgotha, which is outside Jerusalem's city walls. For some, the scapegoat mechanism will seem archaic. Why do we need such religious, ritualistic, and barbaric practices as scapegoating? We live in an enlightened, humanist, secular society, they argue. But one look at culture and politics today shows us that the practice of scapegoating is alive and well. In fact, Girard would argue that it is one of the inbuilt psychosocial mechanisms upon which culture has been founded. When faced with overwhelming problems in our culture, we have a natural human instinct to find someone to blame and attempt to remove them from our society through violent means. We may want to consider ourselves more enlightened than previous cultures, but when it comes down to it, the evidence says we're still battling with the same tendencies and inclinations as every generation that has come before us. So I reckon we still need a strong scapegoat theology. We need it as a way of seeing the world which adequately explains the nature of our own desire for violence and provides us with a way out of that cycle of death. Batman won't cut it, because he isn't exactly a paragon of peace. He is well and truly part of the dark world of Gotham's escalating brutality. he only finds redemption in eventually choosing a different path. What do you see when you look at the world? Without an adequate solution, violence begets violence. That's what I see. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video. My name's Jimmy Lawrence, and here on Theology Geek I want us to explore what happens when we see the world through the lens of theology. So if that's the sort of thing that you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button just down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. God bless.